let's go ahead and get started again. I would like to introduce a good friend of mine from Montreal, Manon Lessard. Come on out, May.
I'm not much. I'm from Quebec City.
Oh,
Much prettier.
Shoot. I think I confused provinces and city. No, I confused cities, didn't I? All right. Didn't score any points. Didn't work. I tried.
So, hello, everybody. I hope you're enjoying the presentation so far. I'm not a frequent presenter, so please bear with me. As you know, I might be nervous. So anyway, presentation today is not to the level of Bob Friday's morning presentation. So, you know, it's about 3 o'clock. You might be feeling like you need a nap. I'm not going to pick your brains too much. So you've heard Tom talking about a GTA process. So that GTA process I've been involved with, apparently he thinks that I'm really good at cracking the whip and getting adults, grown people, to listen to me and work. Apparently that doesn't work with my son either. But anyway, so GTA process, it sounds really cool, but really it's more like a WWF match where, you know, you've got a bunch of tech people trying to get their point across to other tech people. So that's kind of a scary perspective. So the suite is really pretty at Caesar's Palace, but people are really actually working really hard to reach the point where we're satisfied with the content that we're going to put in the next certification. So my talk is called How to Be a Conductor, because I was looking at those people fighting and I was thinking, what did I get myself into, really? I mean, you know, 17 years ago, I was still configuring Cisco, who remembers a Cisco 1924? That was an awful switch, right? Cat OS, Bay Networks, Nortel switches. So that's what I started my career working with. And now we were arguing about 5G and Python and Ansible and what should be in the next cert. So I sort of had that vision that the next few years are going to be very interesting in tech because you need to know it all. You need to be the conductor. If, like me, you're working for a university of, you know, I'd say a large size or medium business or small college, and you're the only 1 or 2 people working on the network and on the Wi-Fi, and you have to know it all, there's quite a challenge ahead. So maybe you got in tech like me because you love a good CLI. Maybe you like, you know, running around with a console cable trying to rescue and save the day. But we're not in Kansas anymore. The network is now, and the future of network is whatever we want to make it. Well, you know, those are buzzwords, but the reality is that IoT and automation and private LTE and sensors and SD, whatever, and all of those things are going to get you. And you have to learn now about them if you haven't yet. So here's a short list of what came to mind that's coming at you. You've got 5G, you've got CBRS, and yes, right now it is a very US-centric thing, but Japan has the frequency reserved. England, even though it's kept by someone that just doesn't want to give it up. Ireland, Germany, all those countries. Well, aside from Canada, because, you know, apparently we like to watch what the FCC does and take the decision like 5 years later. So aside from that, people are getting ready to use it. And today, of all days, the FCC is opening the CBRS spectrum. So this thing is real. You've got automation, you've got AI, you've got the cloud, you've got Keith's favorite, the fog, which is between the cloud and your network, the fog. IoT, as I said, that really cool thing that Ms. Chappelle this morning talked about that I didn't know existed. I don't know about you guys, but the deep space network, I had no idea existed. And it looks super interesting and, of course, promising. So there's a lot to learn. Anyway, so what can you do? Well, first of all, don't panic, as they say, right? Carry a towel? Well, I don't know what you're going to do in networking with a towel, but hey, you never know, right? So, no, you won't be able to handle it all today. You have the basis, but you won't be able to handle it all on your own. So 5G is still being defined. The cloud is a buzzword, yes, that we've been hearing for the better part of the last 10 years. But really, people are only starting to understand what it means to be in the cloud. Because it's not this magic thing that's going to suddenly solve all your problems. You have to understand it to use it. So people are starting to move beyond the cloud's cool factor. IoT is everywhere. CBRS, as I said, is being pushed out by the FCC today. So you still have a bit of time. So we're about to change at work. For my part, we're about to change the entire network. It's been running in a certain way for the better part of 25 years. So it's not just a wireless overhaul that we're doing. We're redesigning an entire new data center. We're redesigning a good part of our network. And we're going towards new models. So, I thought that we could maybe come up with a method to the madness. And that method is based on user groups. And by the way, if you're just a small business, if you're all alone in your little corner of the world, user groups can come as Slack groups. I run with Sam Clemens, a Wi-Fi Pro Slack group. Just ping me if you want to be in. There's a whole bunch of channels that are super interesting, and they're going to get you involved and allow you to learn more and maybe share your knowledge with your peers. So, so going back to my workplace, we are in the process of redesigning everything. So we decided to go with user groups. We're lucky we're a team of like 10 people. So we started by designing things and having a subject matter expert, and then you've got people that are tied and working with him. And so we're doing knowledge transfer at the same time. And those are those are ways to allow you to learn. There are lots of different ways to learn, of course, as long as you stick to the basics. So, don't forget, structure. Structure is important. So, you've got the good old PPDIOO of Cisco at the WLA. In the standards committee, we use a lot of the sweep process, and we use the structure of defining, designing, deploying, and diagnosing. And those are good bases on which you can structure your new practices. You're not starting from nothing. If you need more help, well, as Tom mentioned this morning, there's CWSA. CWSA is all about giving you that basis if you're all alone in your corner of the world, to learn a bit more about IoT, about mobile networks, about sensors, about the fog, right, Keith? I'm sorry, he loves the fog. And all of those things, and 802.15.4, you're going to get all the basics with CWSA. It's not perfect. It is an intro to the technology. There are lots of certifications that are coming too, among which the integration and connectivity certifications that we're going to work on at the GTAs next year. And by the way, I would really like to talk with people if ever it so happens that you have large IoT deployments. I would really like to talk with people that are involved in that regarding GTAs, because I really want to be ready and make those certifications as pertinent as possible. So, other resources aside from CWSA and the entire new train that leads up to CWSE. Well, you've got the CBRS Alliance, you've got the Bluetooth SIG, you've got the Zigbee Alliance, you've got the LoRa Alliance. As I said, CWNP is working on those two new certs. You're going to be able to learn intro to programming with the continuing education that CWNP is rolling out. So the future looks bright. And just in case, like me, you like to learn a little bit more about everything that's coming your way, you can still look at those resources. Those are a few of the book suggestions that I've heard today that I've asked my friends to I've asked simply my friends to give me their best and latest reading. So, those are resources that can help you. So you've got the 100-page machine that Bob mentioned this morning, Learning Python the Hard Way. I know that Jake Snyder swears by that book. And by the way, if you want to learn more about Python programming, I suggest you have a conversation with Jake. He's very knowledgeable. Him and Ryan are rock stars of the Python world in my book. So you really want to talk to them. Then you've got, as I said, the e-learning programming skills. You've got, all sorts of book on security, because of course the S in IoT stands for security, right? And then you've got demystifying Internet of Things security, the 5G myth, Internet of Things for architects, and my friends from Montreal, IBWave, which you've met earlier on this afternoon, also have seminars on their products. They have awesome things that can help you deploy 5G, IoT, and all those things. So I strongly encourage you to get involved. And also, by the way, all the standards by IEEE can be found on the interwebs for free. Of course, maybe they might supplement your medication in case you have issues sleeping, but if you really want to know it, I guess that's the way to go. So, remember, learning never ever stops in IT. If you're done learning, then you're done with IT. It's never done. It never will. So, are you up for the ride? That's the question. Thank you.
Sorry, a little slow to the punch there. Any questions for May? Any questions at all? You must have told them everything they needed to know. Although I do have a question for you. What's the correct way to pronounce poutine?
Poutine.
Poutine. Did anyone else know that? Or was that just me? Ian did.
Yeah, of course he does.
Of course, Ian. Keith says, what's the correct pronunciation for non-French people? Om nom nom nom.
That's the right way.
Yeah.
Om nom nom, yeah. You can also call it a heart attack in a bowl.
It's probably, yeah. I will try it one of these days. Just, haven't been I haven't been to Canada in a while, so.
We'll make you some
All
next
right.
February.
All right, sounds good. I'll come visit. Well, thank you, May. Thank you very much. All right.